The next thing I wanted to mention and take a moment to chat about today is where we are with respect to schools across the state of Maine. Let's first start with some of the numbers. Overall, in the past 30 days, we have seen approximately 212 cases of COVID-19 associated with schools. Again, that's over the past 30 days. That's not the number that are active today, but that's the number that are active in the past calendar month. Of those 212, 185 are confirmed cases, 27 are probable. And that number includes teachers, staff members, as well as students. Now, as I walk through some of these data, let me be really clear right at the outset. I do not want to minimize the impact of COVID-19 on those who are affected in school communities one iota. Schools most definitely, whether they be teachers, staff members, and students, can be affected by COVID-19, and I do not want to minimize that impact one bit. But what I do want to discuss today is what we know right now with respect to transmission of COVID-19 in schools versus COVID-19 in school communities. And again, the distinction I'm drawing here is one between finding COVID-19 in schools and finding transmission of COVID-19 in schools. Over the past now 2+ months into the school year, we have thankfully seen little transmission of COVID-19 within schools. That's an encouraging finding and a clear sign that many of the difficult steps that educators, school officials, and parents and students themselves have been taking are working. These are things like wearing face coverings in school, having plexiglass up to prevent the virus from moving, engaging in physical distancing in the classroom and throughout the school. And of course, what we all know has been challenging, which has been pausing or changing the nature of certain extracurricular activities. What I want everyone to know is that those changes are having an effect. What we have detected thus far into the school year is very little transmission of COVID-19 within the four walls of the school. Yes, we have detected cases of COVID-19, but not many instances of spread or transmission within the four walls of the school. This is an important thing. This is an important distinction because keeping kids in schools for in-person learning continues to be one of our priorities right now. The fact that we have not detected widespread transmission in Maine underscores the fact that in-person education can be done and can be done safely. Now, I want to be clear. I am not claiming that there has been zero transmission, nor am I claiming that there will never be any transmission. But what I am, based on the data we have seen to date, suggesting is that the level of transmission that has occurred in schools has been thankfully very low. Now, some of the numbers that I've mentioned, 212 cases of COVID-19 associated in the past 30 days with schools, that sounds jarring. But bear in mind that much of what that number represents is a function of what we are seeing of transmission in the community. I'll say that again. Much of what we are seeing with respect to the numbers of cases of COVID-19 in schools are a direct reflection of the rates of transmission of COVID-19 in the community. To put that somewhat differently, much of what we have seen in Maine with respect to COVID in schools is what we are seeing based on the community. The two have a close relationship. And thus far, we've detected cases not because they have been transmitted or contracted in schools, but merely because that's where more individuals are being tested and where we are focusing our eyes upon. The other implication of these data is that one of the best ways to keep kids, staff members, and teachers safe is to reduce the overall levels of community transmission. To put a finer point on that, if we want to keep kids in school for in-person education, the best thing that we can do is to keep a lid on community transmission. And the best ways to do that are going back to the basics we've talked about for months now. Going back to those face coverings, going back to talking about physical distancing, going back to avoiding crowds and gatherings.